Got a request some time ago to do a video on outlining a novella. And you think, isn't that the same as outlining a full fledged novel? Not so much. Hold your horses. And I'm asking a question. Are you thinking about writing a novella? Well, are you unsure about where to start? Novellas offer a fantastic opportunity for new and experienced writers alike to explore story structure, character arcs, and plot pacing in a condensed form. A novella is a perfect middle ground, long enough to develop complex ideas, but short enough to remain focused and manageable. Today, we're basically going to show you how to create flexible yet focused outlines to keep you on track from a beginning to end. So, whether you're working on your first novella or looking to sharpen your storytelling skills, let this video be something to get you thinking on how to do it. So, let's talk about it. How to outline a novella, keep your story tight and engaging. But, Thomas, what is a novella? A novella sits between a short story and a full-length novel, generally ranging from 20,000 to 50,000 words. Again, if anyone's interested, I have a free file in the folder in the comments section below. It's pinned there, where you could look at genre-specific word counts. Moving on. So novellas sit between 20,000 and 50,000 words. Now, this could be the ideal format for you as a writer if you want to explore more complex plots or character arcs without the expansive commitment of a full novel. Now, the novella's length allow for deeper development than a short story would, because you get more words, while still maintaining a focused narrative. Now, learning how to outline your novella is crucial. It helps you stay on track and ensures that every word serves a purpose. Ultimately, with a clear structure, you can avoid tangents and plot holes. Now, this is the thing. Novellas, we're going to use the 27 plot point outline today. And you're like, but Thomas, isn't that for novels? It's for narratives. And narratives can be as long as you want. A narrative could be a word long, alone. One word, alone. Tells you everything you need to know. All right. Now, when it comes to novellas, it allows you to take an idea and sort of focus on the idea without having to get into all the subcategories of things, and it's very isolated and tight. Okay, it shows you how to write quickly, not as in write like I could write 1,000 words quickly, but like how to write something that reads quickly and it's very it's streamlined. It's like, here we go. Now, I will say this as a helpful tip. One helpful tip, and I've said this often: an outline is more than something set in stone. Just because you outline something doesn't mean that that's it. I can't change it. So think of your novella outline as a roadmap, not this is how it has to be. This is just going to help you with the guidelines to getting your idea on the page. And remember, you don't need to know every twist and turn, but you should be aware of the key landmarks, the narrative nodes, as I might call it, the major plot points and character developments that will guide you from the start to the finish. Now, outlining allows you to focus on the essential beats of your story so you don't get lost in unnecessary subplots or overwhelmed by too many characters. It's just about getting the idea out. Things to consider before we go into a real-time example. Overcomplicating the plot. Look, since a novella has a limited word count, it's important to keep the plot focused on the main conflict. Don't get distracted by too many subplots or secondary characters. The tighter the focus, the more impact your novella will have. It's easy to let side stories or character explorations pull you away from the main story, but always bring the narrative back to the central conflict. For instance, in any novella, everything should tie back to the main plot and what it reveals. Like, what is its purpose? Okay. Now, of course, another thing you should consider is organic development. Your outline doesn't need to map out every little detail. I say it. I am a discovery writer, but I'm a heavy outliner, and what that means is I outline in broad strokes, and then I discover the little details in between. So I might be like, Thomas goes to work today, but I won't say what kind of job. I might. There is a small chance I might, but it's not that important. Thomas goes to his job. That's the ordinary world. And maybe I want to set some things up. He's not very good at his job. He likes a couple of his coworkers, but he hates the new guy who he believes is gonna be the one who he whatchamacallit, takes his position. So I know I got to set that up. But how I set that up is the story. That's the discovery part. Who is Thomas? What's Thomas look like? How does he work? Why is he bad at his job? What kind of job is it? Like all that, I'll leave to the fun of it. I'll let it sort of like build itself in the story writing. So that's the organic development idea of it. You don't want to allow your outline to stifle your ability to expand or decrease certain things. So as you write, let your characters take you on unexpected journeys. Wherever they go, they go. Thomas needs to have a job, but let's see what job he goes to. You also want to avoid novel length complexity. Don't try to include a level of complexity you'd find in a full length novel. Focus on key character arcs and plot points that will keep the novella tight and engaging. What that means is ultimately, when you're working on your novella, let's say we're doing Lord of the Rings, it would probably stay focused on the ring. Imagine the three books were a novella, and we shrunk it down. It would focus solely on Frodo and Sam and their journey. And when characters left, they would leave. That's it. They're done. They're out of the story. If they come back, though, that might be interesting too, where we see them in moments. And that's also kind of interesting because we don't necessarily know what they've been up to. So that's like, how are their influences? What led them here? So it creates questions. But in a novella, the story you're telling in that moment is really just Sam and Frodo getting to Mordor. I almost kind of want to read that novella now. So let's do it. Boom. Whoa. There we go. All right. Now, this sheet is also available in my folder for free. Notes to consider. This is just stuff I write down for myself when I'm doing my brainstorming. So, for example, for this, I want to establish, I'm not even going to name the character. The character's isolated life and growing obsession with, I don't know. Ooh, let's make it a little horror-y and also mystery. An unsettling painting. All right, so that's a note that I want to consider. That is brainstorming. But what else do I want? How do I want the story to? What should I say? The inciting incident, right? So let's say the artist discovers. What did they discover? Discovers hidden. Let's just make it Da Vinci Code it. Hidden details in the painting that lead to questions, because that's what happens about the town's history. So it's Needful Things meets Da Vinci Code. All right. Now, what are some other things? Well, I want the artist to have an investigation kind of story, like element. So, okay, the artist, artist. Jesus, I can't spell. Spelling is without. Okay, that's right. The artist investigates, begins their investigation. Investigation on the dark, unsettling, Jesus. Secrets behind the painting Let's see. Oh yeah, because so it's because it's a town history. Let's say in they get pushback and resistance from the townspeople. Sucker. All right, what else? What else? So this is a. All right, well, I'll show you. I'll show you. I'm just showing you how to brainstorm real quick. So what's the other thing we want to kind of get in there? The artist learns disturbing truths, and the tensions grow, or the tension, I should say tension. Yeah, tension grows as their personal relationships begin to unravel. I feel like I spelt. All right, I feel good about that. What else? You got to tell me. I know this is pre-recorded, but still. Let's see now. And then basically the artist unearths. It has to be shocking because, like, why would it be? Why wouldn't it be, right? Painting. Ooh. See, that's a very broad stroke. See, I could play with that. And then I want a resolution. So the artist must decide whether to reveal the truth or continue living in isolation, bearing the weight. Ooh, yes, let's get dark with it, of their knowledge. All right. Do I want more information, or is that it? I could brainstorm this for hours, by the way. I could also get a little deep with it. I could go over here and I could go establish the artist's isolated life and growing obsession with an unsettling painting. So maybe, you know, house, untouched, unfinished paintings all over their studio. All right, unfinished paintings now in the studio. And they're looking through different art books for inspiration. All right, searching online for something to get them going. Right. All right. So then they discover an old painting that really interests them. There you go. There you go. All right. So now, if I was going to do this, and I'm not going to do the whole thing, but so that's basically what I would do. So this is the good thing about writing notes like that. You could just go like that. All right. This I would actually, and honestly, if I wasn't trying to get through a lesson, I would make this a paragraph that makes a little bit more sense. Just streamline it. You know, it's just a plot point summary, not a chapter summary. It's a plot point summary, not a chapter summary. Okay. It could be, but right now I always start out as a plot point. This would be the inciting incident. And then all right, there we go. And then it's good. That would be there, right? And then so I did this, and this. The artist discovers. The artist discovers. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Now, this investigation. Let's see. This would be this. All right. The artist is battling the idea if what he discovered is even real, myth, something people may or because he's got artist block. He's just trying to find something to distract him from painting. All right. And then the artist begins their investigation. Right. See, look at it. Sometimes the notes just sort of like, oh, wait. The artist learns disturbing truths. That would be this. I also want to show. I'll show you something in a second. Okay. I'll show you something in a second. This seems like later. This is like the final battle. In fact, these two things, I would do this. Whoop. Artiste. All right. So let's see. That first one is the final battle. The final battle. It's the final battle. All right, there we go. So we got 2 beats in just from brainstorming, by the way. Just from brainstorming, I've created but they discover an old painting that really in the book they discover the artist discovers an old painting, right? And maybe I would explain the painting from I don't know when is that Renaissance error. What is that? The 1400s? All right, so we'll say it's from the 15th century. From the 15th century. Oh. The 15th. Can you say that? 15th century? Excellent. The artist discovers the hidden details, blah, 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 blah. Right? The life changes as a result. Let's see. They investigate the thing. The town tries to discredit. I really have trouble spelling sometimes. All right. Discredit the artist. The town tries to discredit the artist, causing more issues for them. All right. So I want to go back up here in resistance. They're just trying to stonewall, gaslight, and mislead the artist. All right. So it is not violent or malicious. That is spelled wrong. Isn't it? Did I spell that right? Malicious. Did I spell that right? I think I did. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. See, sometimes I don't trust myself because of my spelling. Remember, I like to make these red. Boop. Just because they're a note. All right. The town tries to discredit the artist, causing more issues for them. Even some threatening the artists. Like artists. Life. Threatening. the ancestor of the painting finds the artist, tells them that everything they know is true, and that the ancestor has been trying to solve the puzzle for the last 50 years, and that together they can solve it because they believe that artists might be able to look at things with non-biased eyes. New, fresh eyes. They have to leave the town and go to Italy. Actually, leave the town in Belize. Did I spell that right? Belize in Italy. Belize. I think I spelled that right. Belize. Oh, no. I didn't spell that right because I'm a doof. What's crazy is my last name comes from there. Bellezza. Anyway, Bellezza. But this is Belize. Leave the town in Belize and go to let's see, nearby towns. Let's see, nearby towns from Belize. We might let's see. It's let's see, the Belize. Ooh, closest match would be. Oh, let's do this because we'll connect. Oh yes, let's do that. All right, and I go to Alla, chi fa? State zitti, aspetta, that's what I'm saying. Parli Italiano? No, just me. Okay, my ear just went deaf. I don't understand what's going on. Hello, is anyone there? All right, just kidding. So there you go. That's Act 1. We just did Act 1. But I do want to say this. Let me show you what you need to do now for the novella, all right? So, just like any other narrative, you would just map out each plot point, okay? But the difference is you might want to instead of making each plot point a whole chapter or making it more than one chapter, you might want to start thinking about combining. Okay, where are we? I just don't want to be on the screen because it blocks stuff. You want to combine ideas. For example, this could be a chapter. That's okay. But you can place this plot point be in chapter 1 with this. So let's see. The artist discovers an old painting that really what does it say? Interests them. Okay. So it's from the 15th century. The artist discovers hidden details in the painting that lead to questions about the town's history. So in the book, the artist discovers an old painting that really interests them. So I would even say these 3 beats could all be one chapter. You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, look, this is what? This is one chapter, right? Here, I'm gonna 1 second. Boop. So this is one chapter. And then you could go down, and the artist is battling the idea that they might want to do it. The artist begins their investigation, unsettling secrets. The artist learns the truth. All right. So this would be a chapter. So this is chapter 1. This I would make a second chapter because it has to do with investigations, and you could like let them do a few investigations. The artist is battling the idea, or I should say this. I would make this a chapter. So the artist is battling the ideas. They want to discover it, but they could be like kind of already investigating, but with more of a should they, could they, would they mentality, which will turn into plot point 5. All right. So within that chapter, they start doing this, which leads to them asking questions. Right. So I would make this maybe the beginning. This would introduce the chapter, and then the middle would be the pushback from the people. Once they start uncovering dark secrets, they could start getting pushbacks, right? And they could start, right? You could even, if you wanted to, these could technically be 2 chapters. So this would be 1 chapter, and then this would be a chapter, and then these 2 things would be. So now we're at 3 chapters, and that's not bad for 6 plot points. That's not bad. Let's see. The town tries to discredit the artist. The answer is through painting. This could be a whole chapter. Let's see. This actually could all be a chapter. So now we're at 7 chapters. So 9 plot points have been cut down to 7 chapters. So that's good. And then, of course, we get into it. The new world could be a chapter. These could be 2 chapters. So now we're at, what is that, 8, 9. So we're still 3 chapters ahead of cutting it down. This could all be 1 chapter. So now we're at 10 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you're doing your novella, you still can map out the 27 plot points because they are plot points that are needed. But at the same time, you don't have to make a chapter per plot point like I usually have suggested when working on the 27 plot point outline, because it originally was called the 27 chapter plot point, but I adjusted it for my way of writing and my storytelling process, and where a plot point could be 2, 3, or even 4 chapters long, because you could start, 1 chapter could be the introduction to that plot point, and then like the midpoint conflict of that plot point, and then the conclusion, the resolution. But in a novella, you want to streamline it. You want to just kind of like get to the point. You don't want to meander on things. You just sort of like boop, 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 boop. And if you notice, really the subplot here is that the town knows something and there's an ancestor. But those 2 things don't directly diverge from the main plot. They're just directly influencing the main plot. Whereas like in a main narrative, you might be able to sort of like, let's go follow this person for a second or 2. Like even in my epic fantasy novel, Death of the Maven Wars, Death of the King. In book 1, there's 2 main protagonists, Devious, and then Aaliyah. And Aaliyah, literally, for the first half of the book, it's her story on one side, and Devious' story on the other. So they're not even in the same area. They're not interacting with each other. Their stories aren't even directly influencing each other. And I use that because like they are, but they aren't, narratively, they feel their own stories, but then they slowly come in and, something happens and et cetera, et cetera. That's because it's epic fantasy. You're allowed to do that. And novella, we probably, who are we going to follow? Who gets ignored and who doesn't have to follow? You also, in a novella, you don't have to deal with a lot of the smaller things. Sometimes you don't have to set up as much. Sometimes you don't have to dive too deep into things. You can just like, what are the meat and potatoes? Just get right to the point. Let it feel thorough. So those are things to consider when doing that. Final thoughts. Your first novella outline doesn't need to be perfect. It's a starting point, not a strict set of rules. As you begin writing, you may find new ideas emerge. Allow yourself to play with those ideas. The key is to have enough structure to keep you on track while still allowing flexibility for creativity. Remember, you want to adjust your outline as you go and don't allow yourself to stray too far off the course, but at the same time, don't feel like you can't. You want to embrace the journey and trust that your story will develop in the way it needs to make the most sense. However, when outlining a novella, it isn't really just about completing one project. It's about building essential storytelling skills, right? So you want to practice how to outline in general. You want to learn how to structure your narrative. You want to balance character development, and you want to maintain pace within a shorter format with strength. And durability to your story. You want your story to make sense and all this stuff. So whether you go on to write a full-length novel or continue working with novellas, the skills you will learn from outlining a novella can help with regular novels and vice versa. Because when you're outlining at first, it's just plot points. It's just narrative beats that need to happen in order. But how those play out in a regular novel, you can play within that plot point. You could give a plot point an entire chapter, from anywhere from 1,000 words to 3,000 words, and in some epic fantasies, you're thinking 5, even 6,000 words. Right? That's a little on the long side, but it happens. But in a novella, like I said, you might want to condense plot points into one chapter. So you might put 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 plot points into one chapter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have literally started the idea of the chapter off where the plot point, if I was working on the chapter, I might say the artist is painting. He's painting. He's doing a thing. He's bored. He's looking through books. He's looking through the computer. And then he discovers a painting within that chapter. And then he's like, oh, what is this? And then he starts looking into it. And then he's like, and this is still one chapter. And it might only be 3,000 words, maybe 3,500 words, right? And that is 3 plot points. We established the ordinary world. They found a book. They looked into the details. But in an epic in a novel, like a normal story, not an epic fantasy, but a normal story, I might want to explore their ordinary world. Maybe I don't want to just play around in the studio and just show them uninspired. Maybe they're uninspired and they leave. They go outside, and now instead of finding the book in their studio amongst other books or researching on the computer, they're out and their friend is like, you want to go to the museum? And they're like, yeah, let's go to the museum. And then there's a secondary story with that character. That's what a novel would be. It would start branching out and showing new scenes and new settings, and it'll start allowing other characters to have more perspective on things. But in a novella, you want to streamline it. You want it to be very purposeful. Every chapter is very purposeful. Just get to the point. With that said, next video in this series, we're going to create a character. We're going to deep dive into character building and outlining, I should say, because this is an outlining series. So ultimately, we're creating a character outline where we will deep dive into how their character arcs work, their motivations and backstories. We're going to get a little fun with that, okay? Question. What story idea have you been holding on to that might work better as a novella than a full story, a full-length novel? Let us know in the comments below if you've been working out the ideas. Here's another question. What story have you read that you would love to see as a novella that just shrinks it down to the core beats of it all? I already said Lord of the Rings. I would love to see Sam and Frodo's novella. It's just them going, and how it, like, just the idea that characters come and go and vanish, but like we don't really go and deal with other characters in the story. It's just their perspective and their journey. And as characters come and go, there's really no context for it. I definitely would like to read that. That would be an interesting, but since I know the story, I already have the context, but like just the idea of reading something like that would be interesting to me. Anyway, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. Like the video, do all those thumbs ups. Had a lot of fun on this one. I love outlining, so that was exciting. As always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.